Hello, everyone, and welcome to Musing, music for the adventurous listener here on CJSW 90.9 FM in Calgary. I'm your host, Janna Sailor. On today's episode, in recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day on June 21st, we are featuring First Nations composers and artists from across Turtle Island. First up, music of composer and pianist Beverley McKiver and her song cycle Boozhoo Manoomin, or Wild Rice. Let's listen in. we just heard All That We Are, You Must Go, The Journey, and finally Giizis, or The Sun. And these are excerpts from Beverley McKiver's song cycle entitled Boozhoo Manoomin, or Wild Rice, with the composer herself at the piano, Larissa Desrosiers on vocals, Zoé Dumas on flute, and Anne Kerr cello. Next on the program, a piece for orchestra and narrator entitled Spider Brings Fire from Chickasaw composer Jared Impachachaha Tate. A story of how animals risked their lives to bring fire to mankind and teaches us that even the very small can accomplish great things.
We respect the smallest, the least, like the spider in our old story who carried the fire back to us, walked across water from the island with fire on its back, and returned the sacred fire to its place, our center, both as a nation and as a man, a woman, a child. Fire is our name.
Look, there is fire. We need fire. It's in that hollow sycamore tree on the island. Fire. How we need it. But who should go get it? I am so small, but still, I can walk across water. But what about me, the crow, and my lovely white feathers? And look how I can fly, so mighty and powerful, across the water, over to that tree. Even if my feathers get a little dirty, at least I can carry back that fire just like a piece of wood. Oh my, it is so hot over here. I can't get in that tree. Oh, I am burning up. I'm on fire, even flying. Oh no, my feathers have turned black. Look at Crow. His feathers are charred. I must say, once again, I am just a small creature, but I know I can bring fire on my back. Not at all. Let me do it. I'm already going. An owl can bring fire. We have wisdom. And look how fast we zoom in for a landing. Faster than... Youch! Oh no. He went to the tree and his eyes have turned red. Even the wise owl returned without fire. He has rings around his eyes. Look how he rubs and rubs to get the smoke out. It must hurt. I may be just a little spider, and my voice is so small, but I've carried things across the water before. I can swim through water faster than anything. Maybe I am pale and look weak and thin, but a snake can go into the tree at the bottom and reach the fire without the fear of smoke. See how quickly I travel on water? What a great swimmer I am! But oh no! I am getting scorched! Poor us. Even the racer cannot bring us our fire, and we need it so much. Well, okay, Spider. You are little and kind of ugly with your black downy hair and your 8 legs. But you are the last one who might have a chance. So we will let you try it. See how I cross the water? Oh, Spider! Spider! Look, did you know a spider could weave a bowl out of silk and clay and carry it on her back? A spider can bring a coal in that bowl and return to the others. Spider, you have brought us fire. You are our helper, our friend. You have found a way to bring fire, and you are so small. Who would have known? On second thought, you are so lovely. We never really said you were ugly. We will always take care of you, Spider, and all the rest of the beautiful 8-legged creatures.
That was Spider Brings the Fire by Chickasaw composer Jared Impachachaha Tate, narrated by Wes Studi, and performed so beautifully by the Nashville String Machine. You are listening to Musing on CJSW 90.9 FM in Calgary. I'm your host, Janna Sailor, and this is a special episode in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day. Next, we have soundtrack excerpts from composer-performer Melody McKiver, who is based in Treaty 1 territory. And this soundtrack is from the 2021 documentary Returning Home, which skillfully intertwines the stories of residential school survivors with that of the intrepid journey of wild Pacific salmon. haunting sounds from composer and performer Beverley McKiver and their viola, and that was a soundtrack from Returning Home. Continuing in the beautiful and powerful tradition of storytelling, we are going to hear Jack the Fiddler by Karen Sunabacka, and this is an excerpt from the recently released album Sustenance, and it was commissioned by and written for violinist Elation Pauls, who we will hear in this recording with David Braid at the piano and the composer herself narrating.
Jack grew up on land that was unfairly taken from the Red River Métis. He was the son of Scottish settlers who were fiercely independent and proud. Down the road, in all directions, were the Métis, who were forced to move from their riverside community to these lands, their former pasture lands, where they built a new school, a church, and a hall for celebrations. This is the story of Jack and how he discovered the Métis fiddle. Jack was a curious, sensitive boy. At dawn, he awoke to songbirds nesting outside his small room, a moment of delight before setting to work for his father near their Métis neighbors. On late summer evenings, still toiling under his father's stern watch, he was enchanted by sweet, reeling sounds dancing all around. "You're a dreamer," his brothers sneered, thrashing him, breaking his nose. But he was to become Jack the Fiddler. Alex the Elder saw Jack, a small boy, stacking and stooking, pausing to listen, then scurrying to keep up, then edging nearer to the railing until his crumpled nose was pressed against the window. Come in, come in. Alex threw the doors open, brought Jack to the table, served fresh bread, warm milk, and gave him a place in the circle. The piano chorded, the guitar kept time, and at the center a gleaming fiddle carried the melodies. I forbid it, his dad thundered when Jack carved a fiddle. Jack paused, and then he walked away, because he was Jack the fiddler. Jack walked towards the music, laughter, and kindness. He worked very hard from dawn to dusk to earn enough money to buy a better violin, to build a cabin to practice in, to pay for a violin teacher, and to pay a doctor to fix his broken nose. He had perfect pitch and an astonishing memory. He was Jack the fiddler. Jack played with Alex's children and friends, leading the band with jigs, reels, and waltzes. "Play for us, Jack," the people cried. "Play." Jack fiddled until the early hours, steady and reliable. And Alex called the dances until the war. He was Jack the fiddler. He joined the army in 1939 with Alex's nephew Popeye, but came home alone in 1945. He married Alex's daughter Lenore, his musical partner on the piano, and they filled the house with children, music, and books. His fiddle helped him through polio, the loss of a son, and many hardships. He was Jack the Fiddler. His music was essential, was medicine, was a kind of communion, bringing together elders, family, friends, children, and grandchildren. Jack worked until his early death, and as he took his last breath, the music accompanied him. To this day, people remember the boy who played at the dances for his friends, who laughed and grieved with them, who welcomed all and made music to share. Ah, yes, they say, we remember Jack the Fiddler.
music that truly touches the soul and has the capacity to heal generations. That was an excerpt from The Grief Eater Firaga, composed by the extraordinary Sunny Ray Day Ryder, a rising star in the orchestral world, and performed by the Kensington Sinfonia. Before that, we heard Jack the Fiddler by Karen Sunabacka, text by Joyce Clouston, Elation Pauls violin, David Braid on the piano, and the composer herself narrating. We have come to the end of our hour of musical celebration together. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Musing here on CJSW 90.9 FM in Calgary. I'm your host, Janna Sailor, and Musing is a production of the Canadian Music Centre, Prairie Region. We recognize that there are more than 630 First Nations communities across the lands that we now know of as Canada, representing 50 distinct nations and Indigenous languages. In addition, there are Métis in every province of the country, and 53 Inuit communities speaking different dialects of Inuktitut across the north. We acknowledge them as the original music makers, dancers, creators, and caretakers of our lands, and they continue to inspire and teach us as we commit to learning and moving forward together. I'm going to leave you now with the music of the incomparable Cris Derksen, Métis cellist, composer, performer extraordinaire. This is a throwback to when Cris was relatively new on the scene. This is New Woman Song. Until next time, thanks for listening and for supporting Canadian artists and composers in your community. Take care.